This isn't a coincidence, it's a summons. You weren't just born. You were released, on assignment, into a world that never knew what to do with you. And the reason your soul has felt out of place is because heaven never meant for you to fit into a system it planned to shake. You've mistaken your delays for denial. You've called your isolation punishment when it was preservation. You've labeled your pain as random. But what if the storm was the seal and the silence was sacred? Was it loneliness, or was it a celestial marking? Was it spiritual warfare, or the sound of angels holding back the winds, waiting for you to awaken? Stay, because in the next few moments, a mystery hidden in Revelation may finally explain the ache that's been living in your chest since childhood, the visions you couldn't forget, the battles you didn't ask for, and the reason you've always felt watched, even in the silence. This is Chosen One's prophecy, where the hidden are revealed and the sealed are summoned. Revelation chapter 7 speaks of 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth, holding back judgment until the 144,000 are marked. And what if that number includes you? Stay, because the 7 signs you're about to hear may not only reveal your identity, they may unlock your scroll. The divine code hidden in you. You were not just born into a family. You were sent into a bloodline to interrupt patterns, to shatter generational ceilings, to restore what others lost. The mark on your life was invisible to most, but hell saw it clearly. Before your first word, the war had already begun. You didn't ask for this feeling, the sense that something ancient was watching you, but it followed you, haunted your dreams, stirred questions in your soul that no one else around you understood. You tried to silence it, but it never left, because it wasn't imagination, it was inheritance. Revelation 7 says the 144,000 were sealed in the forehead, not as decoration, but as designation. They carried a divine code in their soul, and so do you. You weren't delayed, you were disguised, because God protects what is prophetic until the time is perfect for its unveiling. You've spent your life asking, why me? But heaven has been whispering, why not you? You're not waiting to be chosen, you were chosen to wait. And now, the seal is beginning to shine. The ache to remember who you are is the first evidence of your awakening. But why does it hurt so much to be hidden? Seasons of silence. Silence is not the absence of God. It is His most careful classroom. You were trained in places no one applauded, in friendships that fell apart without warning, in years that felt wasted. But none of it was wasted. None of it was forgotten. David wasn't crowned in the palace. He was chosen in the pasture. Joseph wasn't recognized in his dreams. He was refined in the prison. Even Jesus, the Son of God, spent 30 silent years before speaking one public word. Silence is where the scroll is written, and obscurity is where the oil is formed. If people forgot your name, if opportunities passed you over, if rooms grew cold when you walked in, it's not because you weren't enough. It's because you were too much for the wrong season. You weren't abandoned. You were being hidden in holy delay. What felt like divine distance was actually prophetic precision. So when the silence wrapped around you like a cave, heaven wasn't ignoring you. It was incubating you. And in that silence, your anointing began to ferment. But why does fire always follow silence? The fire and the forge. The betrayal wasn't random. It was divine metallurgy. God doesn't anoint without breaking. He doesn't commission without crushing. You thought the heartbreak would destroy you, but it baptized you. Like Job, who lost everything. Not because he was sinful, but because he was trustworthy. Like Peter, who denied Christ only to become the rock. Like Esther, orphaned before she was crowned. You didn't survive that pain by accident. You were reforged in the flames of affliction, when the people you trusted became your test, when what you loved was torn from your hands, when every plan unraveled like threads in a storm, God wasn't punishing you. He was preparing a mantle too heavy for the unrefined. The fire didn't scar you, it sealed you. You were never fragile. You were flammable, lit to carry fire into the places still drowning in cold. And yet, with every flame came resistance. Why did the enemy come so hard for you, so early? Why hell targeted you, darkness confrontation? Because you were born carrying light, and darkness knows the scent of threat. You didn't provoke hell. You reminded it of what it failed to stop. The warfare on your mind, the anxiety that made no sense, the attacks that found you when you had done nothing wrong. That wasn't weakness, it was confirmation. Demons don't waste energy on the irrelevant. Spiritual warfare is the receipt of your relevance in the realm of destiny. Gideon was hiding when the angel called him mighty warrior. Mary was a teenager when God placed eternity in her womb. Moses had a stutter, yet he was the one called to part seas. You were a threat before you knew you had a sword. And the enemy tried to shut you down before your voice ever matured. But here's the truth. If hell couldn't stop you in infancy, it will fear you in maturity. You are not cursed, you are called, and the resistance proves it. If this resonates, comment 444 now as a prophetic sign that you are still listening and receiving. Let the scroll continue. But what happens when the chosen remember who they are? Supernatural identity. The world called you sensitive, but heaven calls you spiritually coded. You don't just feel pain, you discern atmospheres. You don't just inspire people, you shift them. You don't just survive storms, you interpret them. This is not charisma, this is calling. Romans 8:19 says, "Creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed." That's not about fame, it's about function. The 144,000 weren't chosen because they were loud. They were chosen because they were loyal. Even when no one clapped. Even when their prayers were unanswered. Even when the cost of obedience was silence and sorrow. You've been living under pressure because the weight you carry is not human. You felt misplaced in normal spaces because your identity was never meant to be explained, only revealed. And now the unveiling has begun. But an identity without an assignment is just a title. Heaven's assignment. The 144,000 are not spectators. They are not collectors of prophecy. They are messengers, assigned, not just awakened. Your life has been echoing a question. Why do I feel responsible for things I didn't cause? Because your calling is intercessory. You were wired to feel the fractures in the world, because you were meant to heal them. You may never wear a robe, but you carry a scroll. You may not stand behind a pulpit, but your life preaches. Like Nehemiah rebuilding walls no one cared about. Like Deborah judging a nation while seated beneath a tree. Like Jesus washing feet when he could have summoned angels. Your assignment is tailored, timed, and waiting. The delay wasn't denial, it was deployment preparation. But no one carries an assignment alone. The rise of the remnant. You are not the only one. Scattered across nations, cultures, and timelines, the remnant is awakening. These are not the loudest. They are the most aligned, marked in silence, trained in sorrow, commissioned in secrecy, and now, gathered in purpose. You felt it, that pull toward stories of superheroes, that ache when you see injustice, that surge of light when you help without expecting anything. You were not romanticizing fiction. You were remembering your origin. The remnant doesn't just believe, they burn, and the more they awaken, the more the earth begins to tremble. But what if your flame was meant to echo? Echo activation. Because this isn't just about you. It never was. What you've survived, what you've overcome, what you've carried silently for years, wasn't just for healing. It was for activation. You are a living scroll, and what you carry must echo. into bloodlines, into nations, into forgotten timelines. The 144,000 were never called to fit in. They were called to awaken everything around them. And now, your time has come. You thought the pain was punishment, but it was preparation for prophecy. The very moments that made you question your worth were the same moments heaven used to whisper your name to angels. The silence, the warfare, the loneliness. None of it was random. It was the cost of being sealed before being seen. You are not who the world tried to define. You are not what the trauma tried to erase. You are one of the few, marked before birth, refined in obscurity, and summoned now for such a time as this. You carry more than memory. You carry a mantle. You were not called to echo culture. You were called to echo eternity. You have been marked. You have been forged. And now, you are being sent. If this message pierced something deep in your spirit, comment 777 now as a prophetic act of agreement. Let heaven see your response. Let the remnant know you're awake. Share in the comments what confirmed you. What did the Spirit highlight? Which moment pulled the veil back? Subscribe now and stay connected to Chosen One's prophecy. This is more than a channel. It's a gathering ground, a global altar. You are not alone. You are the next echo.